Welcome, Year 8 and 9 students. Let's get right into today's Explainer. We're doing a historical deep dive into a really pivotal moment in modern British history, a moment that fundamentally shaped the society we actually live in today. Let's begin.
22 June 1948. A drizzly summer morning in Essex, a converted troop ship called the Empire Windrush slips up the Thames towards Tilbury dock. On board, 1,027 passengers, most of them from Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, and other islands of the British Caribbean. Some are former soldiers who fought for Britain in the Second World War. Some are young men in sharp suits coming to find work. There is at least one stowaway, a young woman named Evelyn Wauchope. Newsreel cameras are waiting at the dockside. The Empire is coming home, and Britain has no idea what is about to happen. Welcome to the Time Map. Today, the story of Windrush.
Here's what to expect today. We've got a strict three-part structure. First up, the Windrush story. Then, two surprising facts. And finally, a knowledge check.
Part 1. The Windrush Story. Rebuilding Post-War Britain.
So to really understand this event, we have to put ourselves in 1948. The Second World War had just left Britain completely exhausted. Vital industries, like the newly founded NHS, were facing severe labour shortages. They desperately needed workers. To solve this, Parliament passed the British Nationality Act. Basically, this confirmed that all 600 million people living in the Commonwealth were legally British subjects, giving them the absolute right to work in Britain. Recruiters actively travelled over to the West Indies, and, for a lot of Caribbean people, this journey to what they called the mother country really felt like a homecoming.
But getting there wasn't exactly easy. Tickets on the Empire Windrush cost £28. Now, at the time, that was a massive sum of money. Families literally sold everything they owned just to raise the funds. But despite the huge cost, they made the journey. And when the ship finally arrived at Tilbury on that June day, the atmosphere was genuinely historic. As passengers came down the gangplank, newsreel reporters were right there waiting for them. Up on deck, the famous calypso singer Lord Kitchener actually sang a song he'd written during the voyage titled "London is the Place for Me." Now, you might be surprised to hear this, but the British government was caught entirely off guard by the sheer scale of the arrival. They didn't really have a proper plan, so a lot of the migrants were temporarily housed in a deep-level air raid shelter right under Clapham Common. And because the nearest labor exchange was over on Cold Harbour Lane, many of them ended up settling in Brixton, which cemented it as the absolute heart of London's Caribbean community. Over the next 25 years or so, around 500,000 Caribbean migrants arrived. They literally became the backbone of the NHS. They drove London's buses and underground trains, sorted the mail, and worked in heavy industry. They absolutely helped build the modern infrastructure of Britain. Despite all those massive contributions, the reality in 1950s Britain was starkly different from the welcoming mother country they'd been promised. Racism was widespread, and honestly, at the time it was largely legal. It was completely common for landlords to display signs in their windows reading, "No blacks, no Irish, no dogs." Migrants faced refusal of service in pubs, they were frequently overlooked for workplace promotions, and they experienced serious police harassment on the streets. It's a harsh historical truth about how the Windrush generation was initially treated.
And this hostility did occasionally boil over into outright violence. In August 1958, the Notting Hill riots erupted in West London. Over several nights, groups of young white men attacked Caribbean residents and their homes, even throwing petrol bombs. This racial tension also led to major political shifts. From 1962 onwards, successive governments passed laws like the 1962 Commonwealth Immigrants Act, which was specifically designed to restrict Commonwealth migration. These laws made it increasingly difficult for non-white Commonwealth citizens to enter Britain, whilst deliberately maintaining easier routes for white citizens coming from places like Australia and Canada.
Yet out of the darkness of those 1958 riots came a truly powerful cultural response. Trinidadian community organizer Claudia Jones wanted to create a joyful, unifying answer to the racism her community was facing. So she launched what would eventually become the Notting Hill Carnival. It was first held indoors in 1959 and then moved out to the streets by 1966. Today, it stands as the second biggest street carnival in the entire world. It's attended by over 1 million people, proudly celebrating Caribbean culture and resilience. Fast forward a few decades, and a profound injustice came to light. In 2017 and 2018, the Windrush Scandal broke. Under new hostile environment policies, the Home Office began demanding decades-old paperwork from long-settled Britons just to prove their right to remain. The problem? Many couldn't provide this, partly because the Home Office itself had actually destroyed thousands of old landing card records back in 2010. Consequently, people who had lived, worked, and paid taxes in Britain for over 50 years were wrongly detained, lost their jobs, or were even deported. The massive public outcry eventually led to the resignation of Home Secretary Amber Rudd and a formal government apology. So to summarize the story of Windrush, the empire that historically took millions of people from their homelands eventually brought their descendants back to Britain itself. The Windrush generation and their descendants quite literally built modern Britain. Despite facing severe discrimination and, much later, the injustice of the Windrush Scandal, they fundamentally shaped the nation's food, music, workforce, and the NHS. The Britain that exists today simply would not be the same without them.
And now, 2 surprising facts about this story. Fact number 1. The NHS absolutely would not exist in its current form without Commonwealth workers. By the 1960s, around 12% of all NHS doctors were from the Commonwealth. But here is what's particularly surprising. The British Health Minister at the time, Enoch Powell, who later became infamous for his highly anti-immigration Rivers of Blood speech, actually travelled personally to the West Indies in the early 1960s specifically to recruit Caribbean nurses for British hospitals.
Fact number 2. The ship itself, the Empire Windrush, met a pretty dramatic end. It continued operating as a troop ship, but actually sank in the Mediterranean Sea in 1954 after an engine room fire off the coast of Algeria. For decades, it just lay there on the seabed until marine archaeologists finally located the wreck in 2019. They managed to successfully recover the ship's anchor, which is now sitting on display at the Tilbury cruise terminal, literally the exact spot where those famous passengers first set foot in Britain back in 1948. Part 3, Knowledge Check. Let's test your memory. I'm going to ask 5 questions. Have a think about the answer during the short pause, and then I'll reveal the correct response. Question 1. On what date did the Empire Windrush arrive in Britain and where did it dock? It arrived on 22 June 1948 and it docked at Tilbury, Essex. Question 2. Why did the British government invite Caribbean migrants to come to Britain after the Second World War? Answer. Britain was short of labor after the war and desperately needed workers to rebuild the country, specifically for the new NHS, London Transport, Royal Mail, and manufacturing. Question 3. What kinds of discrimination did the Windrush generation face on arrival? They faced racist signs on lodgings, such as no blacks, no Irish, no dogs, refusal of service, police harassment, and racist violence, culminating in events like the 1958 Notting Hill attacks. Question 4. What was the Notting Hill Carnival originally a response to? It began as a community response to the 1958 racist attacks on Caribbean residents, first organized by Trinidadian activist Claudia Jones to create a joyful answer to the hostility. Question 5. What was the Windrush Scandal of 2017-2018? It was a scandal where long-settled British residents from the Windrush generation were wrongly detained or deported by the Home Office because they could not produce decades-old paperwork. As we reflect on their incredible resilience, ask yourself, how will the legacy of the Windrush generation continue to shape the Britain of tomorrow? Thanks for learning with the Time Map. The series finale is next. Subscribe.